Should the Chicago Bears sign this man, Connor Williams, who's reportedly negotiating with Seattle, but that deal is not done, and until it is, I'm interested if I'm the Bears. We're going to talk about it. Yes or no, let me know in the comments, considering the Bears' offensive line is having issues, some injuries have popped up. Do you want Connor Williams, yes or no? Let's dive on into Bears now. I'm Harrison Graham. Let's get into the Bears' offensive line issues here as some injuries have started to pop up. Nate Davis has missed a good chunk of training camp, although he returned in a limited capacity on Sunday. Darnell Wright has missed the last few practices. Teven Jenkins left Sunday's practice as well. The center position hasn't been great, and just reports out of Hall from some of these practices, especially when you get some of the backups in there, it's just like, it hasn't held up that well, if we're being completely honest. And look, that's what I try to do on this show. I try to be honest. I try to give you my objective opinion as much as I can. And I'm concerned at this point. I do have concerns. Now, am I concerned that this is going to be a bottom 3 unit in the NFL or something like that? No, I think when fully healthy, this can be a top 20 unit, but I don't know if top 10 is even a possibility. And, I think you'd be happy with league average at this point, which I think you were hoping it would be a little better than that, but I'm not super optimistic that'll be the case. Still have over a month until the regular season, so certainly that can change. But you just look at this with the center situation, Bates and Shelton, there's been mixed reviews out of those guys. Nate Davis hasn't been out there a ton. Darnell Wright has missed some time, and when he has been out there, Montez Sweat has been cooking him, which Sweat's awesome, but you're hoping Wright takes that next step. I love Teven, but he's been banged up and has a history there. So, you start adding these concerns up with the offensive line. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. At this point in time, Nate Davis is unreliable. If he goes out there and plays most of the season and plays well, hey, that's great. But if I'm a betting man, would I bet on that? Probably not. Like, I don't think you could have a lot of confidence that would be the case. Center is a question mark at best. Again, I think it's better than last year, but it was a disaster last year. So, better than a disaster doesn't equal good. Can you get top 18 center play with Coleman Shelton and or Ryan Bates? I hope so. Am I banking on it at this point? There's been some snap issues yet again in practice, pre-snap penalties. That hasn't been ideal. Teven Jenkins' injury history got banged up in some capacity, it appears, on Sunday. So that's always going to be lurking over your head throughout this season. And I think the offensive tackles of Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright are solid, but they're still young players. And if those are the two guys that you're kind of having your highest hopes on, other than a healthy Teven, that's not great either. So I say all this, and I'm kind of like, why not bring in Connor Williams, even if you're not going to sign him, just to kind of check him out, right? Because that's kind of what Seattle has done, is he recently visited the Seahawks, and it sounded like they were going to sign him, then it was quiet, and now again today it's popped back up that in the next 2 to 3 days they could work out a contract there. So certainly discussions are ongoing between Williams and the Seahawks. But until that deal is done, I'm interested if I'm the Bears. Now, we're unclear on his recovery timetable. He did tear his ACL last season. Drew Rosenhaus, his agent, said in July that he would be ready for week 1. Who knows if that's the case? I would think if Seattle's signing him, they feel good about his chances being ready at least early in the year, if not by week 1. All I know is this, is that when he was healthy last year and the year before, frankly, for the Dolphins, he was one of the better centers in the NFL. Second highest graded center by PFF last season. And again, even if he was the 12th best center, that's better than what you got now. Why not bring him to Hall at least, do some kind of a medical check, and just see what's up with Connor Williams? What is the downside? You don't sign him? Who cares? You don't have him right now. Now, maybe he's too far down the road with Seattle at this point, but until that deal is signed, I'm interested if I'm Ryan Poles. I don't get the sense that they are interested. I think they want Ryan Bates to be their center, which is why they've pursued him for a couple of years. He hasn't played the position that much. There's been some snap concerns, it sounds like, at practice. Coleman Shelton is serviceable, but there's a reason he signed for, I think, just over the vet minimum here. It's not like he's an outstanding player. I don't know, man. I just look at this and I'm like, Connor Williams would maybe be your best interior player if healthy. Why not give him a look? What do you guys think? Should the Bears sign Connor Williams? We asked you to start this video. We're asking you again. Type Y for yes. Type in for no. Let me know down in the comment section below. Should the Bears sign Connor Williams? All right, coming up next, Yannick Ngakoue. Is he still on the Bears' radar as a potential free agent pass rusher addition? We'll dive into that here in just a moment. But do you guys want to go to a Bears game this year? And do you want to get the best price available and potentially at the last minute? Maybe you're a spur of the moment guy. Well, Game Time is the place to go. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time, and what they specialize is last minute tickets for the lowest price guaranteed. And what you need to do is download the Game Time app, use code CHATSPORTS after you create your account to get $20 off your first ticketing purchase. For your first purchase only. Should mention that. Terms apply as well. Listen, you got to get out of your house. You got to get out and about and do things. Cubs games, White Sox, they actually play each other this week. What Game Time does as well is when you're surfing on their app for tickets, you're going to get exact photos of vantage points in arenas, in stadiums, etc., of where your seats will be. There's nothing worse than getting to a venue and A, not knowing where the hell to go, and B, when you get to your seats, like, oh, this seat sucks, the obstruction is bad, or I thought I was closer, or whatever the case may be. They're going to have those photo shots for you. That way, before you buy your ticket, you're like, oh, okay, I like this seat, or I don't like that seat. Going to buy a different one. Game Time's got you covered in that regard. They have flash deals, zone deals at the last minute because they want to get butts in seats for these events. Just trust me. It's very easy to use. The app is user-friendly, and the deal for you guys is awesome. $20 off your first purchase only. Terms apply with code CHATSPORTS. So if you're looking to go to a sporting event, a concert, a comedy show, or anything else where you need to buy a ticket, do it with Game Time. Link will be in the comments and in the description. Click and download the app today and create that account and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Okay, let's get to the latest on Yannick Ngakoue. He does remain unsigned in NFL free agency at this point in time. The veteran pass rusher did visit the Dolphins and Panthers recently. Remember, he visited with Emmanuel Ogbah in Miami. They opted to sign Ogbah. He visited with Carolina as well. They went in a different direction. So, take that for what it's worth. That's certainly not insignificant. Now, it's possible those teams offered Ngakoue something. He turned him down. Who knows? But Albert Breer did bring his name back up when talking about the Bears in a little Bears training camp breakdown that he did earlier on Monday. He said they did have Yannick Ngakoue last year, and if the price came down a bit on him, he could help as a pass rush specialist for a group that could use a little more juice. My guess is that they'll want to see young guys like Booker in a preseason game or two at least before moving on something like that. And speaking of which, I do think Austin Booker showed some juice against the Houston Texans in the Hall of Fame game. Now, it's one game. It's against backups. Can he do it again against Buffalo or Cincinnati? We'll see if those teams play some of their starters. But look at how PFF graded him out over 23 snaps. I would say this checks out. Kind of a mixed bag, right? Like, I thought he definitely looked more comfortable as a pass rusher than a run defender. A lot of the run plays, he was kind of just running with the like a chicken with his head cut off, kind of like, I'm running hard, but not really going anywhere. He had one pressure, but I thought he had 3 good pass rush reps. Like, he collapsed the pocket once, which led to a forced fumble, and he had a couple more reps where he was just a little late in getting to the quarterback, but that wasn't really any shortcoming of his. It was more of the quarterback got the ball out. Like, you watch him play, it's like, okay, this guy is raw, but he has a motor and he has good power. Like, he plays with good power. He's a good athlete. You can see the potential there. Now, through 23 snaps in one preseason game, have I seen enough to think he can be a number 2 or number 3 edge right away? That feels a little rich to me. And I mean, obviously he's going to be on the 53, and I think he'll get some opportunities, but I wouldn't put him ahead of DeMarcus Walker. If Jake Martin is healthy, I'd probably have Martin ahead of him as well. So he'd probably be your 4th guy right now. Martin has been banged up, so door's a little open there. But even if those guys are healthy, like Jake Martin, like this D-line has questions. Let's just be honest. Like, Montez Sweat is awesome. He's had a great camp. We know what he's about. That's not a concern. Javon Dexter's had a very good camp, and I'm excited to see him play in a preseason game, but it's still a projection to see how well he's going to play this year. I'm hopeful DeMarcus Walker plays a little bit better in year 2 in his 3-year contract than he did last year. He said a couple weeks ago he played at about 75% a year ago. So, maybe he was banged up and that led to a dip in production. But even if he's at his peak self, his best version of himself is as like a heavy rotation, move around guy. Play some 3-tech, play some edge. I still would like to add someone to the mix. Now, I don't think Ngakoue is perfect. I don't think he played great last year. In fact, I know he didn't. But I thought he started to show a little more once Sweat got on board. 2 of his 4 sacks were with Montez Sweat. I thought he flashed a little more with him. If that price does come down, like Breer says, and is cheap, $2, $3, $4 million, like I would do that. Do the Bears want to? That remains to be seen, but I do think that this defensive line could use all the help it can get at this point in time. Do you guys want to bring back Ngakoue? Let me know. Type S for sign, type P for pass. If it's cheap, I'm in. I don't want to give him $8 million, but $3 million, incentives up to 5 or something like that. I would probably be on board with that. S for sign, P for pass. Let me know what you guys think. We'll be live for every single Bears game this season, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We'll be live every game day. That includes the preseason, just like we were for the Hall of Fame game, pregame show before, full watch party, and then postgame after. Doing it all here on Bears Now, and of course, our daily content that we always do. So hit that subscribe button and keep us locked in. All right, did want to get to some injury notes. No practice on Monday, but these 12 players did not practice on Sunday. Kyler Gordon still dealing with some sort of issue, as is Tyrique Stevenson. Jaquan Brisker did not practice, so you're already at 3 starters right there in the secondary. Noah Sewell, who's been kind of in and out for the Bears, he wasn't out there. Montez Sweat had something pop up recently. He didn't practice, neither did Jacob Martin, as he suffered some sort of a foot issue during the first week of training camp. Darnell Wright has missed the last few practices. Teven Jenkins left early in Sunday's practice. Still unclear what that's about, but he missed the bulk of work, so I want to mention him here. Andrew Billings didn't practice. That's a notable one because defensive tackle's pretty thin right now. Theo Benedette didn't practice. UDFA offensive lineman. Ian Wheeler, UDFA running back. And then Patrick Scales, the long snapper. Not really that concerned about that one. And I think in general, I think we would know if some of these were serious, and at this point, it doesn't seem like they are. I do want to mention as well, Nate Davis did return for individual drills, but then he took off his pads and was done with practice after that. So, again, I don't know if that's part of the plan where they're going to ramp him back up or if something flared up on him. I'm not sure. Again, none of the injuries seem serious. Flus, is hopeful some of these guys come back soon, his own words, but at the same time, it's adding up a bit, and I get part of that's just training camp. It's this time of year. Guys are working back into the swing of things, but listen, that offensive line in particular, that's the position group I'm concerned about as you enter this season. Follow me on Instagram at HGramNFL, where we have more content over there around your Chicago Bears. So go ahead and give me a follow. It's at HGramNFL over on Instagram.